Hello everybody. In this session we are going to see how to use variable in robot framework. In real world, in any programming language, we see there are three type of variable that we use. Scalar, for example, a is equal to 5, pi is equal to 3.14, or for that matter, say uh, word is equal to hello. Okay, these are all scalar variable that holds a single value. Another type of variable is list, or typically it is known as array, that contains multiple values. So here's an example, say color. I have an array of color, list of color, which is red, blue and green. And if I want to access particular variable, I access it using some index. And dictionary is a hash map that holds, instead of index you give a key, and each key has its value for it. And if I want to access particular key, like if I want to say give me a fruit which is blue, and it's gonna give me the value of blue, that will be berries. Okay, that you can see out here. So similarly you can use the variable in robot framework. So all you have to do is right click on your test suite, and you can say use scalar variable. That will give you a variable like this. Okay, this is a scalar variable, this is a list variable, this is a dictionary. If I want to create something, I can right click on test suite and it will show the options to create scalar or list variable. There's no option to create a dictionary variable here, but not a problem, you can do it from here. Click on the test suite you have, and here you can see add scalar, add list or add dictionary. Okay, so one thing to note, that variable in robot framework are not just like any other programming language, but little different. So if I want to use a scalar variable, I have to enclose them inside this curly bracket prefixed by dollar symbol. Okay, so you can see I have a variable var1, and its value is value 1. I have a list called @list, and its value has 1 2 3. So sometime in write editor it shows a column like this, which we can change it like this. But then don't get distracted or misinterpreted by thinking that this is a multi-dimensional array. But this is just a single value. It starts from left to right and top to bottom. That is how it goes. So always make sure you are keeping this column as 1, so that you don't get confused with this. And another type of variable that we discussed is dictionary. It says red apple, yellow banana, green pear, red cherry and big apple. So here one thing to note, that I have two values of red apple, red cherry. In this case it's going to override the older values. So in this case, if I say give me red fruit, red whatever I have, so it will tell the value will be written will be cherry, not apple. Okay, so let us see how to use this, print this variable. So we just show how to create this variable. Now let us see how to print those variable. So to print any variable in robot framework so to print any variable in robot framework, all you have to do is log and then variable. So this is something you are merging with some string, so printing variable and then your variable. Okay, so it will printing variable and whatever the value of this var1. Okay, we'll run that in some time. Then second is list variable. So just like if I see you want to print all items, all I have to say is @list, so it will print all the items. And if I want to I want to print specific element, all I have to say is list and then index. So in this case 0th element will be printed. Okay, so you'll see element 1 would be 1. And for dictionary, if I want to print entire dictionary, this is how it will be, and then dictionary. And if I want to print specific element, all I have to say is key and then the dictionary, and in the square bracket rather than index I'll provide the key. Okay, let us run the program and see the output. Okay, select this test cases and say run. So there you go. The first thing that was scalar, that says printing variable, and the value of the variable was value 1, so it printed printing variable value 1. Okay, second is we are printing some array, so all item, so it's going to print like this. If I want to on the second line we printed element 1, so it's going to look like element 1 and then 1, the first element, that was 0th index. and for key we printed red. So dictionary red is gonna be my cherry, because uh, apple is overwritten, red apple is gone. So that is how you can print different type of variable. You can use different type of variable. Now going ahead with the assignment is like how to assign the value to a variable. So there are different ways you can do that. So if I want to assign a scalar variable, this is how you do it. Your variable name is equal to set variable and some value. So in this case you can see this new variable is not defined anywhere. Here there are only 3 variables belong to this particular test suite, but in this test suite I have not defined or created any variable. So here what I can do is, this is called creating variable on the fly. So this is dollar new variable equal to, don't forget this equal to sign, and say set variable and give whatever value you want to give. If you don't want to give any value, you can keep it empty. So you can say dollar and then inside curly bracket say type emp and then press control space bar for the autocomplete, and it will tell you show you this value. You can get similar value for null also. Okay, for now I'm not gonna change it. Okay, so it should print some value out here. If I want to create some list on the fly, that would be the same way. So instead of set variable, it's gonna be create list and then list of values. Say here a, b, and then c, or whatever number of values I want to give, I can give that. Multiple assignment, that is helpful in case I want to assign multiple values. So in this case var1 var2, and I'm calling set variable, that is hello world. So hello will be assigned to var1 and world will be assigned to var2. That is how it's going to work. So we are going to see 1 hello and 2 world. Okay, so these are our captions. Another way to assign a variable from another variable is like var1 set variable and another variable, that's like a is equal to b. That is what we do. It's like very much like this, a is equal to b. So it will a will have a value, get a value of b. That is how it is. Retrieve from another variable. So this can be a real world case. So for example, you are defining a variable in some other suite. For example, you are defining a global variable, which we are going to see in some time later. So that time we are going to see variable is equal to get variable value and your variable name. Okay, so whatever value this new var2 is going to have is going to return to var1. But in case by any mean the earlier test case failed and it could not create this variable new var2, so in this case you are going to get a default value. So if this variable, it cannot find this variable, it will return the default value, whatever value you can provide. Okay, so it will go to var1. And if I want to assign something specific from a list, so var is equal to set variable, var1 set variable, and then your array and then the index. Okay, that is how the assignment is going to work. So let's run this program. And there you go, something is wrong. So yeah, it gave the error that my list2 instead of my list2, I gave the variable name incorrect, so that's why it gave this error. But anyways, let us see what happens to other things then. So yeah, from here you can say new variable is equal to some value. That is what we saw for the first variable. Okay, and that is how things will keep going. Okay, so 1 hello 2 world, that we assigned the value during multiple assignments. And you can try this on your own later during the practice session. Let us move ahead. Let me correct the test case first of all, which will be -2. Because of this it was giving error. Okay, so you can say this -2 is created here and we are going to use it here. So let me tell you one more thing. Variable are not case sensitive here. So say dollar var1, okay, dollar var1 and dollar underscore var1, okay, var underscore 1. These all things are equal. I mean, space underscore is neglected inside the curly bracket. So whatever it is, it's going to be removed, and that is how the variable is going to get treated. And even this is identical. So if I'm going to say var1, and then I'm going to say var1, so all these 5 variables are identical. Okay, I should have covered this in the beginning itself, but anyways. So yeah, next session, next part is data type. So mostly robot framework stores anything as a string most of the time, but in case you want to store any value that is not a string but say number. Okay, so let us see how to store string. That we already saw that string set variable and hello world. So hello world is going to get stored into the string variable. Okay, integer set variable, and then if you're going to put this inside the curly bracket and dollar 10, then this 10 will be treated as a number. Okay, and then similarly float, so floating point or any decimal. Okay, so there is no double or float, but we can say a decimal point variable. Okay, so I'm going to give it a name, float set variable, and then 3.14. okay, 1 for 1 in fact. Okay, that is I'm assigning the decimal values. For boolean, there are inbuilt values for any variable. For boolean variables, if I want variable to be true, all I have to do it like this, true. And for false, then you can type like this, dollar curly bracket f, and then press control space, and then it will tell you the value. Okay, false, like this. I'm not going to change the value right now. For null variable, this is how it is, that we already discussed earlier, null, and then you can assign null like this. Okay, for empty variable, I already discussed, it's inside this curly bracket dollar, it will be empty. Okay, for space, if you want to give some specific amount of space, for example 5 space, 6 spaces in between two variable or two strings, so that is how you can do it. So for a single space, space variable is there. Okay, like this. If I want to give 5 spaces, so space multiply by 5, so it will give you 5 spaces. So here you can see that it will leave 5 spaces between this and this string. Okay, less than greater than symbol, it will give 5 spaces. And since we want to see how the different variable are treated, so if I will print any string like this, so it will print 10 plus 3.141, but since this is integer and float are the actual number, so it should do the summation. So in this case, result is equal to evaluate, and then 10 plus 3.141, so it should print 13.141. Let us see how it goes, and run the program. And there you go. So you can see the space 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 spaces are added here, and this is the result, which is actually doing the summation of the numbers rather than just joining two strings. Next thing we are going to discuss is scope of the variable. So there are 3 different scope exist for any variable. Let me write it down here for you. One is local, that is specific to test case. The scope ends with the test case. A suit variable and a global variable. Okay. So let me tell you what is these different types of variables are. So your this write test suite is nothing but a single file. Okay, so if I want to see the scope 1 and scope 2, okay, it is defined like this. So this is nothing but a test case. So if I define any variable out here after inside this test case, the scope will be limited to this particular test case. Okay, so in this case my local variable, the scope of the local variable will end here. Okay, if I'll try to access the local variable here, it will throw the error. Okay, I'm just uncommenting this. Suit variable is this: if I am defining some variable out here, it can be accessible inside this also. Okay, so in entire suit this variable is going to get accessed. And let me go back here and if I define a global variable, you can assign you can use this variable in any other different suit also. Okay, so let me repeat that. Local variable is specific to your test case. Okay, so this is scope 1, that is test case. Suit variable, the scope of that variable is specific to this scope, like d1 scope 1 is my suit. I cannot access that variable in this suit, but if I define a global variable, I'll be able to access it in this suit. Let us see how it goes. Okay, so I have defined local variable, set variable, I have a local variable. This is the my local variable's value. Suit variable is saying I am suit variable, and global variable saying I am a global variable. Let us run this program. Okay, scope 1, and then it's printing all the variables. Now let us run two test cases. Okay, and it should give the error for the local variable. So there you go, it says variable local var not found, because that is defined in scope 1, which we are trying to print in scope 2. Okay, that's why it gave the error. So let me comment this thing for now. And now let us try to access the suit variable. Okay, so this is another test suit. Okay, so this is scope 1 and this is scope 2. Okay, and this I am printing first of all global variable and then suit variable. So I have not defined anything in this suit. So if you can see this suit, it's just printing it. I have not defined anything out here, which is defined in scope 1. Okay, so let us run this. So there you go, and at the end it said that it's printing the global variable which is there in your suit 2, that is scope 2. Okay, d2 scope 2 scope 2. Okay, and then if you are trying to when we try to print variable which is a suit variable, it says my suit variable not found. So that is how we can see that scope of the suit variable ends with in the same suit. Now there are certain variables which comes inbuilt with the robot framework itself. Okay, so if you want to see all the variables or the pre-built existing things, all you have to do is control in spacebar and it will tell you or show you all the things it has. For example, if you want to see all the variables that it defines, say $all variables, and it will give you all variables. Okay, execdr that tells you what is the directory in which you are executing it. So in this case we are going to see robot framework. Okay, and there are a lot of variables. You can go through it on robot framework website. Okay, so all you have to do is go to robotframework.com. let me show you that. So sorry, robotframework.org, and out here you need to go to documentation. So here you can click on documentation, and then you can see user guide, or it will take you to the user guide. Okay, and then it shows the different libraries. Okay, so built in, and click on view. So in case you're wondering why did I choose this built-in library, there are so many libraries out here, why did I choose built-in? Because if I want to see something, say this is my example of current directory, let me type it again. If I say control and space, it will not only give me the complete variable or whatever it is defined out here, but it will also tell you what is the source of it. So that says it is built-in. Okay, so library is built-in, so that's why I'm referring to built-in library. Okay, let me click on this, and then you can see all the things that is available out here. Okay, so there are different keywords or variable, you can see it out here. Okay, you can check that thing later. And demo this. Okay, that's it. So what I'm doing here is I'm printing current directory, I'm printing the directory where I'm executing my command, and then I'm just trying to put my files. For example, sometimes you want to upload an image and you might be using some different system. Somebody is putting their code in C drive, somebody is putting in D drive, someone is using Linux. So it's not going to work all the time. So how you can do is you can just go to the execution directory, and from that path you can have your images and whatever input file you want to provide could be in the same directory of your code. Okay, so that is how you can pick up the data. So in that case, no matter what OS or no matter what directory you're using, it's going to find out the file that you want to desire to input. Okay, and then it's printing all variable. Okay, let us run the program. There you go. So it says robot framework a variable. This is my current directory. So this is a variable, and this is the execution directory robot framework. Okay, so this is the execution directory robot framework, and then from that path onwards I can give anything. Like if I have something in that temp directory, so if I can say /temp and then I know what the file path name, and this is all variable, so it is printing all variable and the value of it. This is used in when you are doing the debugging. So if I want to, you want to see what all variables you are there, if there is anything that is being changed or not. For that you can use this variable. Let me quickly show you some of the variables which are kind of important thing out here. So if you want to see sometime what is the previous test message, like whether or what is the status, sometime want to find that, you just run some test case and whether it is passed or failed. So based on the previous test case, you are going to decide whether you want to run the second test or just skip it. Okay, so based on that you can say previous test status and it's going to tell you pass or fail. Similarly, you can get suit status also and then there are a lot of things that you can go through this later, okay, on your own. Final part is extended variable. Now what is extended variable? So sometime if you are familiar with object oriented concept, so sometimes you want to use an object, okay, which will have multiple variable or methods associated with it. Okay, so let me show you one file. So it is there, so it's D drive and then robot framework Python, and this is my file. So let me see. Okay, extended variable, this is my file name. So what did I do is I had three variable. I have defined three variable. So my class is, let me begin from the top. So I have a class called my object. Okay, it has three method. Init is a constructor, greet which takes one argument, okay, and it says hello to whatever name you're gonna pass, and that is how it is. Object is your object where you are creating an object for your class, my object robot. Okay, dictionary is a dictionary that you are defining in this particular object, and you want to say pi, you are defining another variable pi, and string. Okay, so what you can do is, so another reason you can use you want to use variable defined in Python is you can leverage the inbuilt function. So if I'm defining the string variable, I can use all the method which belong to a string. For example, string dot upper, string dot lower, or string dot concat, or like this. Yes, I was saying that you can use different functions associated with a particular string, or whatever function or method comes inbuilt with Python. So I'm creating this Python file, and I'm gonna import this Python file into my into my test case. Okay, so the way I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna say import variable. I'm gonna click here and I'm gonna import the file path. So variable, and then use browse to locate your file wherever it is. So in this case, your Python directory. So if you are going to see red color out here, that means it is something is wrong with the path, or that way you can identify it. So I'm going to see extended variable. The way we have used is $object, and then we had a method called greet. Okay, so if here we are passing a variable like as an argument, we are passing a name, and then it is printing it. So here I'm going to say greet Saba, so it is going to say hello to Saba. Okay, pi is a direct variable that is available in the your Python file. This is a string that's going to print, and I was saying you can leverage the inbuilt functions of Python. So I'm using string.upper, so it is going to convert my hello world to capital hello world. Okay, that is how it's going to do it. The only problem that may come or that comes is, even if I say object and then if I want to print all the methods or variable with it, and this autocomplete with dot is not going to work with write. Most likely it's not also going to work with Eclipse also. So you have to make sure that you're typing the name correctly. That is the only care that you have to take, and that's it. Okay, so let's run this program. So for some reason it is not printing the output. Yeah, it says robot says hello to Saba. Saba is something that we passed. Okay, this is a variable that we define in the file. Okay, Python file, there you go. Okay, 3.14159. Hello world is the string value, and this is what is converted to capital letter. So that is, you can define your variable into a Python file. You can also do this in Java also, but in Saba we have a practice of doing this in Python. So we are going to follow the standards in case we are going to need this. So far we haven't been into this kind of need, like we wanted to create some object and based on we want to do operation, because it's a little bit tricky. But in case you feel that you're going to need it, feel free to use it. And that is it about the variable. You are gonna get this file from me. I'm going to upload it on Saba and share the location with you. Thanks for watching the video. In case if you have any question, please send an email to me, that is vpatel@saba.com. Thanks again.